This is B. Too Will Wilson, and I'm back with a political video. It's been a while since I did a political video, but this is going to be a political video. But I'm going to read a scripture first. The title of the video will be called Wars and Rumors of Wars. I'm going to be reading from Matthew chapter number 24, verses 6 and 7. And it reads, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in divers places." And I read Matthew chapter number 24, verses 6 and 7. Now, if you read the entire scriptures, deal mostly about the end times and when Jesus comes, when you end of the world. But one thing I take note, you said wars and rumors of wars, because we are overly at war, and we always have been at war. And those that know that have hid it from us through our ignorance, through TV, through sin, through sometimes religion. And so it's my duty on this video to inform you of some of the wars that you may not be familiar with. You may be familiar with them, but if you're not, we're going to deal with wars and rumors of war. I'm going to do it from a political perspective because it's very important, and I'm speaking most specific to people that look just like me. If you're from other groups, you can get something from the video to make sure you're not playing a part in these other agendas against my people and against my God. So with that being said, here we go. The first war that I'm going to discuss is something that happened, and most people do know of this one because most people had to participate in it. And that was the COVID war. For those that didn't know, it was a war of patents, greed. I think it also was a initiation of sorts, and a lead up to the mark of the beast when you deal with the mask and the shot. I usually call it the pandemic, panic demon / Anglo-Saxon mission, rich man's trick. But this was the most biggest war that was waged against basically the world of the unknown. I mean, by the unknown, those that didn't know or understood what was going on. And they used scientists and doctors to fool the masses. And they got away with it. But this was a war that was waged. And I want to say this part is very important. We spend time studying and praying. The word says, if it was possible, he, being Satan, would deceive their very elect. But if you say you're the elect, Satan can't deceive you. And for those of us who did not participate in that agenda, may God bless us to continue to resist all the agendas. And for those who did not resist, may God bless you to resist the next one, because they are planning a few other things for this world. Another war that was waged was one which is pretty well known, the LGBTQ plus agenda, the war against immorality. God never ordained male, male, female, and female. The problem is we're not discussing the rape and the molestation that took place that creates these communities. But those who did this, some are very powerful people who raped and molested children, and those children grow up. They have given them a place in Hollywood and a place in the music industry, and they use them as tools to promote behavior that was a product of rape and molestation. This is not right, because Jesus can heal us. Jesus can set us free. He can set us on the path of righteousness. We don't have to stay in that condition. Somebody said, well, why did the Lord let that happen to me? Well, sometimes our parents don't walk up right before the Lord. which puts us in a bad situation and creates a problem through these things that can happen to children. This is why the word says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. But if mommy and daddy's working and partying and good timing, then unfortunately the children are going to suffer. And for many people in my community, just like me, we have suffered. But God can redeem us. And the scripture says, let the Redeemer of the Lord say so. And guess what? I say so. But that's war. Wars and rumors of war. The other war they're fighting, and this is basically against the European and the community, people look just like me, is the war of what? Immigration. And it's unfortunate that we think that we have a black and brown coalition. But when it comes to jobs, we don't have the coalition. Some people in my community allow them to say the N-word. But I'm not for it because you didn't fight for anything. And to be an N-word, it means death. It means destruction. It means the bottom of the barrel. And because you're not helping us get reparations, you don't have a right to use that N-word, and we should not allow it. It's similar to what happened in the days of old. The conquistadors came in and took over. The people from England came in. There's a different story in the United States. They were helped by the indigenous people. And when they got power, they overthrew the indigenous people. So we don't owe anybody nothing because immigration means almost like a hostile takeover. But this is a war that's being waged in this country and probably around the world with different various groups. The other war is the war of what? Interracial marriage. I know this is a very sensitive topic, but I'm going to talk about it because today interracial marriage has been weaponized against people that look just like me. It's kind of funny how people who are usually interracial, these children, they make mockery of the black half, or the half that look like me, while glorifying the half that don't look like me. It seems as though they're the ones who are always using the N-word, and they make fun of people that look like, make fun of that half of them that look like me, but they don't do that to the same on the other side. Why is it the N-word is the most predominant word and everybody else's ethnic slurs almost non-existent? Because there's a war being waged through interracial marriage. We have a right to marry people that look just like me. I have a right to marry a female that look like me. And you don't have a right to tell me, or anybody does not have a right to tell me I can't marry someone who shares my history, my background, my skin tone. But this is wars and rumors of wars. And in this country, it is said that we, people like me, are a nation, what? Within a nation. So this nation against nation is right front center here in the United States. Another war, which you all may be familiar with, is the feminist war. Now, this war is not so much about the European woman against the European man, because the European male and the Jewish male run this world. They run it. So it is not about a war against the European male or the Jewish male. It is a war against the male that looks just like me. It's kind of funny when we had Epstein and Weinstein, they gave you Bill Cosby and Robert Kelly. And it seemed like Bill Cosby and Robert Kelly got more smoke than Epstein and Weinstein, who did more damage. So that feminist movement is really a war against people that look like me under the guise of feminism. And the truth be told, their parents run the country. I'm speaking metaphor against a group. The feminist father and mother runs the country. So they're not really against the male, their European counterparts. It's just the tool they use against people like you and me, especially those that look like me, but it's also warfare. Also, they create a war between the black male and the black female, or which is crazy, because in history, European women had slaves at 40-some%, while the European male had slaves at little higher than 4%. So they both shared in slavery. Both had power, contrary to what they make you think today. At the top, European women are not struggling. They make a lot of money. Also in the affirmative action, they got most of the help. So let's not act like women, European women, are struggling. They are if they're doing bad behavior and they got addictions. But if they're not struggling, if they don't have addiction and bad behavior, they're not struggling. They are part of that power structure, and this is warfare. And all these agendas put together, and I'm using from the, at least between the LGBTQ+, and maybe even COVID-19, immigration, interracial marriage, the feminists, all these awards ultimately against what? Reparations. Didn't know that, did you? People are warring against reparations. All these groups I just spoke of, with the exception of the COVID-19, you see reparations, they all tell you to shut up. They don't want to hear that. So we are a nation within a nation experiencing war against money that's owed to us for the harm done in the past. Why am I saying this? When the children of Israel were in Egypt, my brother Egypt, God made my brother pay reparations. He made him pay. Like it or not. So that is the standard. It doesn't matter if folks don't want to pay it. That debt is due. If you don't pay it, the United States is going to pay the price for it. And those that don't want to pay it know that. That's why they also create all these other issues. So that you don't pay it and you get in trouble. Because we're going to deal with the rumors of wars, and there's an aspect of people who are pushing both sides of these issues, all sides of the issues, and yet getting protections. Because they have control of most of the purse, and they don't want to pay reparations. Although when they were in Egypt, God made Egypt pay reparations. It's really amazing. So the standard for any country that has slaves, pay reparations, especially after 400-something years of slavery. And we're still in slavery. Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, and Roger Nelson, a.k.a. Prince, should have told you that. They can't own anything. You can't own a TV station. You can't own a radio station. You can't own a TV station. You got to stay in your lane, as they say, which is warfare. So let's deal with the rumors of war. One of the rumors of war is a nuclear attack. Now, unbeknownst to the people, they didn't know that in South Carolina, back under Obama, there was an attempt to bomb South Carolina. But some generals were not on board, thank God for that, and they were punished by losing their position through all kinds of scandals. Wars and rumors of wars. The nuclear attack. It's also rumored that they're poisoning our food through nuking our food. So it wouldn't hurt them to have that on their side. So if they fake a false flag nuclear attack, right? They'll just say Russia, China. But the truth is the food did it, and they just say Russia and China. Rumors of war. And last but not least, the pledge. The pledge is these people I spoke of who the world called the synagogue of Satan. They want you to pledge that you won't talk bad about them or say anything about them while they do everything, some of these elements do everything to hurt people that look just like me and others. They hide that, they throw the rock and they hide their hand. And in the book of Romans, it tells you how we all have fallen short. And there is no group of people in God's eyes that are above people except for the saints. Because the saints live a certain way. They live a righteous life, they live a holy life, they walk in faith, they walk in love. But everybody else, you're not above anybody. It doesn't matter if you look like me or other groups, you're not above anybody. But these people who don't want to talk about them may want to take a pledge. This is a rumor of a war. And anybody who don't take this pledge, you might be in trouble. They may want you to wear a star saying you support them. Wars and rumors of war. And with that being said, thanks for watching this video. If you know of any other wars that's out there, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. But thanks for watching this video. Wars and rumors of wars. Be vigilant, be careful. Okay then. Bye-bye.